Yo, are you working a job that you don't like, working with people that you can't stand, doing work that is super unfulfilling and unengaging? If so, you are 99% of the population, and I was with you. You are my people. I freaking hated my job. But what if I told you that there's a way that you could get out of your job doing what you want, when you want, with who you want within 12 months? Sit with me for the next couple of minutes, and I'll tell you how I did it for absolutely 100% free. I paid a lot of money for it, but you're not gonna have to pay anything, right? My name is Brian Lubin. In March of 2022, I left my 6-year corporate position. I turned down a couple of promotions. I sacrificed some stock options, and I decided that I was going to take a grand adventure and travel around the world. That was my big, exciting life, my big, hairy, audacious goal. And so in March, I left my corporate job. In July, I hopped on a one-way flight, and I traveled in 2022 for 7 months around the world. I lived 3 months in Europe. I lived a couple of months in Brazil and South America. And then I ended my trip in Singapore. So I did the dang thing. And what I like to teach people is a 4-step framework that I applied that you can apply as well, that can bake any type of different investment into this strategy so that you can do what you want, when you want, with who you want, and become a member of the FIRE community. That is FIRE, F-I-R-E, Financial Independence Retire Early. When people first discover the concepts of retiring in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, the first thing they want to do is dive into the how, right? Teach me, teach me, teach me. Do I need to do Airbnb investing, mobile home parks, multifamily, real estate, stock market, cash flow businesses, laundromats, Turo? There's so many different options. But what happens is you get what's called analysis paralysis. You have so many different methods of getting to where you want to go that you don't ever actually start going, all right? So ironically, the first thing that we're going to do is none of that. The first thing we're going to do is determine where the heck are we going. It's just like in Google Maps, you're going to set your GPS and then the software is going to paint a path for you to follow, right? This is exactly the same concept that applies with a vision. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a 3-year detailed vision. You're going to write it in present tense and give yourself some grace while you're doing this, because this process is a skill and a muscle that needs to be built over time. You're going to get better and better the more that you do it. Think about creating your vision like having a giant block of marble sit in front of you, and you're chiseling away at it piece by piece to where you start to see a shape forming. And then the statue starts to get more details, and then eventually you're to the point where you're just chiseling in the eyes, the features, the nose, and the hair. Then that's when you get really detailed and granular, right? So the first question that you're gonna ask while you're creating this vision is, what would my life look like in 3 years if money was no longer an object? So mentally imagine that you have $100 million in your bank account. You never have to worry about money again. It's just truly doing whatever you feel like doing, because everyone's in such a mad dash to do what they want, when they want, with who they want, that they don't even know what that looks like. And that also includes a lot of people that have a lot of money. So you are not alone in this. People just don't take the time, energy, and effort to do this work. They're in such a mad dash to get to an end destination that they don't even know where they're going. So that means that you're mashing the gas and you're driving down a highway and it's just going nowhere. So why are we getting so crystal clear on this vision?
Why?
We're doing it because a strategy is a set of self-imposed restrictions on decision making, okay? So we are more so determining what to say no to as opposed to what to say hell yes to, if that makes sense. Because in my strategy, 1.5 years before I left to go travel around the world, which was my vision, the vision of going to Greece, waking up, overlooking the sunrise in my suite in Mykonos, and I could go around and travel to all these different islands and travel around Europe. So for me, that vision dictated a different strategy because I knew that being free, remote, and able to travel were all very important for me. So that way I could not make business decisions that would keep me tied and keep me grounded in a certain area of America, if that makes sense. So step 1 is going to create this vision. Step 2, we're going to create our financial foundation. So now that we have this vision, we're starting with this why and this end destination in mind, and we're working backwards. So now the financial foundation is going to be all the unsexy groundwork just to cover our base fixed expenses. All right, so your expenses fall into 2 different camps, fixed and variable. Fixed is going to be the monthly recurring debt that's coming in every single month that you can't control. The second one is variable, which is going to be food, entertainment, education, all that different stuff, to where you can stop going out to the bars, you can stop going out to the restaurants, you can meal prep, you get the picture, finance 101. So we want to cover our fixed expenses. So this means car payment, house payment, all that good stuff. There's a million videos on financial literacy out there. You guys know that. I'm gonna go through this framework just for the sake of time. So what we want to do is get our fixed expenses as low as possible monthly, and then cover those with what's called passive income. So this is going to be through primarily real estate and cash flow businesses. So that's going to look like maybe buying a couple of Airbnbs or buying a laundromat, a car wash that has an operator in place so that we don't have to be there. Our time is not tied to this income that's coming in. Get it? Got it? Good. Sweet. So that's what I did. I bought 4 properties in Atlanta, Georgia that were cash flowing me enough money to cover my baseline fixed expenses, which for me was about $4,000 a month. I was like, once this is covered, then I can focus and move on to the next stage. So remember that this is not living in your passion yet. This is not the sexy part. This is what earns us the ability to get to the sexy part, because the foundation is what we build the rest of the tower on. And the foundation, the stronger the foundation, the taller the skyscraper. So we are going to create this really unsexy foundation. And then that leads us to step number 3, which is now we're going to create our frame. Now that we have our income coming in passively on top of our W-2, we're still in this job, we're still working. Now we're going to take all the remaining disposable income and we're going to pour that into coaches, courses, masterminds, and investing in relationships. All the rest of this is going into learning income producing skills, joining these real estate masterminds, being around other people that are doing what you want or they're already where you want to be. Because what this does is it buys your time back. We're condensing decades of experience into days, because other people have already done this and they've already done all the hard work and they've done the 10,000 hours of research, and we're literally buying their perspective back by being in their world and providing value to them. So this is what I did as well. I started spending all of my disposable income, not in the stock market, not in the S&P 500, not into more real estate, but into different courses, masterminds, all this different stuff, okay? And what that does is it gets your mindset to a way bigger level. To now that takes us finally to step number 4, which is where you're going to begin partnering with people in these communities. Always remember that you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So now, because of step 3, we've spent all of our energy and resources into making sure that those people are solid caliber people that are rowing in the same direction and have the same goal as us. So now what we do is we leverage their expertise and their viewpoints on our blind spots, because we are our own worst enemies. We are always going to be the #1 source of our own limiting beliefs, because we're going to say, oh, I can't do that. That's for somebody else. And now we have a whole group of people that are supporting us and holding us accountable and saying, yes, you can freaking do it, dude. You've got this crap. Like, we are going to walk side by side with you, shoulder to shoulder, to make sure that you make it to this freaking mountaintop. And we're going to do this together. All right. So remember, through all 4 stages here, that's your vision, it's going to be your financial foundation, your framework, and your freedom tower. All 4 of these stages, they get you to where you have varying degrees of security, because financial security is only one part of the equation to leaving that W-2 job. What you really need is emotional support, and you need support from a community that's around you. Because when I left my job, I remember I had a 6-month emergency fund and cash saved, and that was cool. But what was even cooler was having the emotional support and having those phone calls and having those check-ins with all of my peers, partners, and mentors that were saying, hey dude, I know this is scary right now, but you've freaking got this. And I will leave this video with this one quote, which is this: it's important to think about the worst case scenario that might happen. I know, very counterintuitive, right? But stick with me. It's important to think of the worst case scenario, because what's the worst possible case scenario? You completely fall flat on your face, you go completely broke, all of your investments go up in flames, you get robbed, broke, whatever have you, and you have to go back to square one, which is what? Getting another job. So, in closing, your worst case scenario is currently your present day reality. Ooh. Now, if you enjoyed this content and you enjoyed listening to the sound of my voice and watching me on this channel and this video, I would invite you to subscribe to the Action Academy podcast, which is my show where I interview multimillionaire entrepreneurs between $5 and $50 million each and every day. That ends in Y, 5 days a week. We also post all of these episodes to this YouTube channel. And my ask is, since I give you all of this information for free, that you would share this with other people that you think really would benefit from it. Like and comment, subscribe, post this for engagement. So with that, this has been Brian Lubin with the Action Academy. Thank you for listening.